Hello everyone, I am Kenshin. Welcome to Talking About History. Not many friends should know Truman Capote, but in the 1980s, he was a celebrity in New York's top social circles, but he also benefited from revealing the secrets of celebrities. In the end, his ending was not good. Come today check out his story. Please subscribe and share before the show starts. Please also turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. Oh boy, let me spill the tea on Truman Capote, the literary maestro of his time, and his entourage of glittering New York gliders, the swans. Among these elegant creatures of the social lagoon was the ever-radiant Babe Paley, the fashion icon constantly hailed as one of the best-dressed dames in the domain. With her arm candy, the big kahuna of CBS, William Paley, she was a vision of high society. Capote, with his razor-sharp wit and repertoire of rollicking tales, was the Pied Piper of Ballyhoo for Babe and her fellow swans. This cozy club of chic chicks adored Capote, and he bogarted their life stories like jewels to be stashed away for a rainy day. But along came 1975, when Capote decided to stir the pot and served up Le Cote Basque, 1965, in Esquire. It was a juicy morsel of gossip garbed as fiction, set in the very French bistro where Capote and his swans used to break bread, and perhaps some minor social codes. Peek behind the curtain of changed names, and the New York glitterati could easily spot their own reflections in the story's ripples, down to the nitty-gritty of their scandal-coated lives. And wouldn't you know it, even Babe's own sanctum, her marriage, got the spicy Capote treatment, dished out as a little slice of adultery pie. Babe was far from pleased. The bombshell of her fictional hubby's exploits cut ties quicker than Capote's agile mind spun stories. And there Truman stood, bewildered with his pen still smoking, wondering how his parade of swans turned into a murder of crows, pecking at the hand that once fed them stories. The uproar that followed was a cacophony that drowned out the clink of cocktails and the rustle of taffeta, leaving Capote a little less RSVP'd and a lot more persona non grata. Whispers over lunch, unraveling the Truman Capote tale of intrigue. The saga of Truman Capote and his swans, a tale as intricate and scandalous as the best of high society dalliances. By the late 60s and roaring into the 70s, Capote was a dazzling star in the literary sky, partly thanks to the luminescence of Breakfast at Tiffany's, and the stark, chilling brilliance of In Cold Blood. The latter transformed him from a mere literary figure into a celebrity in his own right, hobnobbing with the rich and the fabulous. Yet, it was the shadowy allure of a project named Answered Prayers that seemed destined to cement Capote's legacy. But, the best laid plans of mice and men, or in this case, writers and their muses. By 1975, with Answered Prayers still an incomplete masterpiece, Capote couldn't resist releasing bits into the wild through Esquire. After all, what's a bit of anticipation among eager readers? Then came Le Cote Basque, 1965, a chapter that peeked behind the curtain of New York's glitterati, a narrative so thinly veiled it was practically transparent. Lima had it right. Capote's swans were no ordinary flock. They glided through life with a grace born of wit, beauty, and the kind of wealth that opens doors, and sometimes closets full of skeletons. Lady Ina Coolberth, the story's protagonist, whispers of secrets and scandal over lunch, dragging the real-life saga of Anne Woodward out from the shadows. Woodward's story, already a cocktail of speculation and rumor, was perfect material for Capote's narrative artistry. But Coolberth's lunchtime tale wasn't just about murder. It was a Pandora's box of infidelities and indiscretions that mirrored the private escapades of Capote's own circle. It's one thing to entertain with the fantastic, another to point a finger that's all too real. Amongst the laurels Capote laid at his own feet, unmasking infidelity and cozying up to misdeeds, were thorns. His depictions too closely echoed the lives of the very swans he dined with, from Johnny Carson's tangled love life to the bedroom trysts of Babe Paley's husband. Despite warnings from Clark, his friend and biographer, Capote plunged ahead, cavalier in his conviction. They're too dumb. They won't know who they are, he claimed, underestimating the intelligence and sensitivity of his muses. The frayed veil of fiction he draped over his portraits was no match for the keen eyes of those who stood at the heart of his narratives. In the aftermath, Capote found himself adrift in a sea of his own making, his once cherished swans now distant and cool. The laceration of trust and the revelation of confidences not meant for public consumption led to his ostracization. In the high-stakes game of society storytelling, Capote played his hand with unmatched audacity, but the house always wins, and even a swan song eventually fades into silence. Capote's descent, unraveling the high society scandal. Indeed, the ripples caused by Le Cote Basque, 1965, transformed into waves that washed over the shores of Capote's life, leaving trails of isolation and spurned friendships. The vivacious storytelling that once charmed the elite echelons of New York society began to do the opposite. Capote's portrayal of his swans and their circles, crafted with surgical precision but perhaps lacking in empathy, led to the severing of numerous bonds that, until then, he had cherished deeply. Slim Keith's horror and distaste at her fictionalized mirror, Lady Ina Coolberth, were palpable. Her acknowledgement that there was no ambiguity over the inspirations for Capote's tale marked the beginning of the end of their relationship. For Babe Paley, the revelation was personal and profound, intertwining with her health struggles, adding layers of betrayal to her pain that she carried to her grave. The fallout of Le Cote Basque, 1965, didn't end with those directly portrayed. It sent shockwaves through the fabric of Capote's social life, affecting even those who weren't featured. Gloria Vanderbilt's disillusionment, fueled by unflattering reflections and private anecdotes transformed into public spectacle, highlighted the collateral damage of Capote's pen. Yet, amidst the ashes of burned bridges, not all was lost. A select few, like CZ Guest and Lee Radziwill, chose to maintain their ties with Capote, perhaps recognizing the complexity of the man behind the controversy. Joanne Carson, too, remained a steadfast friend, illustrating the multiplicity of reactions to Capote's narrative choices. The Tiny Terror, as he came to be known, faced not just the ire of individuals but the scorn of an entire social strata that once embraced him. The public vilification, epitomized by New York Magazine's biting portrayal and Jerry Zipkin's pointed snub, marked Capote's social exile. This schism, playing out under the spotlight of the public eye, seeped into Capote's personal struggles, intertwining with his battles against substance abuse. The subsequent years saw a decline not just in his social standing but in his health and productivity, culminating in his inability to complete answered prayers. In death, as in life, Truman Capote remained a figure of contention. The posthumous release of Answered Prayers served as a reminder of his unyielding talent and the turmoil that marred his later years. It's a testament to the man who, for better or worse, bit the hands that fed him, forever altering the landscape of his friendships, his career, and his legacy. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.